Hello everyone and welcome to episode 19 of Local to Global here on TEW9. We are with Castle Pro Wrestling, our created company in Edinburgh, Scotland. We are doing pretty good, except for the money's not good. But overall we're doing pretty good. Essentially, we're just going to fly through some shows today. The plan for today's episode is to do the 4 live in Edinburgh tapings tonight, and then we will do Chaos in the Close in this episode as well, and then the next live in Edinburgh taping will be just after that, but I will make that the following episode. I probably would maybe do 2 live in Edinburghs, possibly, I don't know. I'll think of something. I might move Graps on the Grass Market actually to that. Well, you know what, while we're here, we're going to do that now. We're going to actually move this 2 weeks ahead. So the 27th and now it's the 13th. There we go. That way it falls nicely with how the event schedule is. So this live in Edinburgh run will happen and that will wrap up there. So yeah, that's fine. Okay. Anyway, enough waffling. We've got some shows to book. I've got them pre-booked already. I just need to go in and start putting them into the actual show. And as you can see, we have signed someone new. Claudio Castagnoli is here. Now, he is based in the southeast. Obviously, he's Swiss, so he can work over here in the UK. He is not what he would become down the line. Now, obviously, Claudio then 2025 is a beast. I mean, I'll be honest, I've not watched a lot of AEW in the last couple of years. I was at the Glasgow Collision and Dynamite taping, and Claudio was in the opening match of Dynamite. But other than that, I've not really watched a lot of Claudio in recent years. However, he has long been one of my favourites, going back to the Chikara Ring of Honor CZW days. So we're getting him very early in his career. He's got a tiny little bit of popularity in the UK and Ireland, but not a lot. And he is based in the southeast in the United States. So we just need him to come over here. He was on tour with All Star, so hopefully us and All Star can make a combination to get him to move. Like what we did with Steve Blackman, where we got Steve Blackman to move over here by keeping him on the roster. Anyway, that's what's happened. We are signing one other person, but I'm not going to reveal that until we hit Chaos in the Close. So that's going to be a surprise. You're not finding out who that is. I need to be careful not to show it on the screen when he does sign for us. I have been keeping a little lookout as well, and there's no one really screaming out to me at the moment. I'd like to freshen up the roster a little bit. This set of TV tapings is very heavy on tag team stuff. So we're hoping to try and find some little wrinkles here and there. But I'm going to shut up. I'm going to hit skip to the episode. And this may take ages because my PC is very slow today. So that's always a delight when I'm recording. But I'm going to get this done. And I'll see you guys in just a second for the 19th episode of Live in Edinburgh on the 19th episode of Local to Global. And we are live in Edinburgh, although technically not live because this is being shown in the daytime. But we opened the show and it's the year 2000, so we opened the show with, of course, the champions. Our national champion, Doug Williams, and our tag team champions, Nigel McGuinness and Rampage Brown of The Firm. Doug speaks and says to the surprise of nobody, Nigel and Rampage showed those 2 skirt-wearing freaks how a proper team functioned as they retained their tag titles last episode by defeating the Scottish Highlanders. He says he wasn't particularly impressed by anybody over the last month, but one person has slightly caught his eye, and he says look, it's an honour to see a copycat in this business, as he calls out Steve Blackman. He says if Blackman wants to act the hard man, he can do it in the ring tonight. Pick 2 of your guys and meet us in the ring. So of course Steve Blackman debuted the Dojo last episode, and Doug Williams is obviously looking at that and going, well, that's just what we do. So we're going to have a fight, because why not? 48 overall. It's a decent opening to the show. We then have a match that is very much a get guys some reps and see what they can do. As Chris Charisma defeats Tex Benedict by submission. It gets a 33. Chris Charisma wasn't very good. And yeah, he then cuts a promo which is very good because he's good on the microphone. He has a 54 for this segment, and he grabs a microphone and says he's been watching the show recently and he's been impressed a lot by Kilt Kennedy. He asks Kennedy, who comes out and tells him he knows his former partner is gone, which was obviously Andrew Baker, but have no fear. If they can work together, they can achieve anything in this company, and that seems to convince Kilt enough. They shake hands and we're going to try these guys out as a tag team, and if it doesn't work, I guess Chris Charisma can just turn on them. Simple enough. A good promo though, because Chris Charisma has very good mic skills. And then this is a good match for what it was. Okay, it's a 33 rating, which isn't great. But Gary Steele defeats Dean Allmark with the steel leg lock in 12:25. We gave them quite a bit of time, and we told them to go out and steal the show. So they only got a 26 and a 29, but both of these guys are very young. Both of these guys haven't had a lot of reps either. But they have pretty good chemistry. So that's something to keep note of going forward, because these are two guys I definitely want to use as the series goes on. And in our main event, it's a very good match. A 53 overall as the Dojo of Steve Blackman, LT Summers and Duncan Disorderly defeat the firm of Nigel McGuinness, Rampage Brown and Doug Williams when Steve Blackman submits Nigel McGuinness with the Dark Side Sleeper in 18-14. Doug's the best guy in the match by a distance. Like, quite a bit of a distance actually. But it's a big win for the Dojo in their first time competing together. They defeat the champs, and you'd have to think some title shots are around the corner for the Dojo. We end the show with a 49. It's a good rating. Nigel overused as always because he's just not getting over, and our live event experience was slightly worse as well. But otherwise, this show is probably going to be about a 53-54, I think. So you take what you can get. I'm just trying to stem the money loss as much as possible. That's basically it. Anyway, see you guys in just a second for episode 20. And episode 20 kicks off with the previously mentioned tag team of Kilt Kennedy and Chris Charisma as they defeat Gary Steele and Tex Benedict when Kilt Kennedy pinned Tex Benedict. Everyone in the 30s, that's good enough for me for an opener. It gets a 36, which is okay. I initially booked this wrong. I know these guys are on the opposite side of the face-heel divide. It was my mistake. I double booked someone and I need them for later on. So that's my bad. That's why this match just feels very random. But Kilt Kennedy and Chris Charisma get the win. We then are backstage with the Dominator, and he says he's been looking for a partner for this tag match at Chaos in the Close, but as of yet he hasn't found one. If he does have to, he will take on Rigor Mortis and Gravedigger alone in a handicap match. If he has to go this alone, he's no qualms about it. He's a big old bastard, the Dominator. He can take on both of these guys. He doesn't want to, but he will if he has to. He gets a 51. But then get a 37, which is a bit disappointing as Jorge Castano beats Dean Allmark with the bridging German suplex. And Jorge was off his game, really off his game actually, which is a concern considering the next segment has the return of Juventud Guerrera. He's not been seen for like a month. And he gets in the ring as a victorious Jorge Castano remains. He tells Jorge he enjoyed teaming with him before and he feels Jorge is going to be something special in this business. He says that everyone else seems to be finding partners, creating dojos and whatnot around here, so he offers Castano guidance and says he can be like a father figure to him. It's a very good promo because Juvi is like a god of promos. Jorge underperformed, but hopefully working with Juvi a little bit can bring Jorge Castano up. And in our main event, we have a tag title match because the Dojo got the win last week, so it only makes sense to have them take on the firm in the main event for the tag titles, but they do unfortunately lose as the firm defeat the Dojo in 1641 when Nigel McGuinness submitted LT Summers with a London dungeon after blatantly cheating. And they make defense number 9 of the titles. As a 42, I knew it wasn't going to be a particularly good main event. This show's going to get dinged pretty hard. In fact, it got a 42. It would have done better if we had a better main event, but it's fine. The TV is... I am going to talk about the TV after I finish this block tapings, I think, because I think we need to have a discussion about the TV. But it's a good show. It's like... It's advanced things. That's what I want the TV to do at this point. It's just to advance my stories. You know, one thing I will say, I've got the ratios down basically perfect. This was a 73% ratio show. I mean, 75 matches to angles, so I'm pretty good at that at least. We do have a tag team match to open the show, however, as Juventud Guerrera and Jorge Castano defeat Tex Benedict and Dean Allmark when Juve pins Dean with the 450. Juve dropping a very, very, very poor 46 in this match. And he was really off his game. Juventud Guerrera is my biggest what if. What if when we gave him the title, he actually got better? I feel like he's got worse. And that's why we are starting to drop him very much down the card towards the tag title level now. But they get a good win. The match is pretty good. And we then get a 39 rated segment as... we're in some mysterious location as Chris Diamond tells the cameraman to come in, and we see Roughneck and Justin Starr blindfolded in a dark room. He takes off the blindfolds and informs them that their training is almost complete. They have one more task to do, as he hands them both acoustic guitars and tells them it's simple. Write a song that impresses Chris Diamond enough that he can use it for his debut album coming out later this year. Yes, there's going to be a Smashing Diamonds album release in the year 2001. The cameraman then, from like obviously behind the camera, just says, look, are these guys going to receive any royalties for their efforts here? And Diamond tells him to shut up and turn the camera off. So, music bootcamp going very well, as you can see, for Smashing Diamonds. This is just a silly little thing to book in. I quite enjoyed writing this. It's dumb, but fun, I think. We then move on to an actual match. They don't seem to click as opponents, which is unfortunate, but Doug Williams defeats Luke Phoenix of the Dojo in 9:44 with the Chaos Fury. It gets a 51 despite their lack of chemistry, and Doug drops a 56 because Doug is the best. But I mean, Luke Phoenix, 32 is very impressive. And after the match, to the shock of nobody, Doug, Nigel and Rampage beat down Luke Phoenix. They're about to put the finishing touches on said beatdown when the Dojo arrive and chase them away. Blackman then grabs a mic and says, "At Chaos in the Close, Doug, it's me, it's you, it's the national title, and Steve Blackman will walk out of Chaos in the Close as your new Scottish national champion." Very good stuff. And in our main event, the Gravedigger defeats Gary Steele with the Tombstone Piledriver. He gets a 47, which is a little disappointing. Gravedigger drops a 49. Gary Steele with a very good 35 for him. But it's all about the ending segment, as after the match, a big bang hits the arena, as we see Rigor Mortis being quite literally thrown around into the barriers by the Dominator, who is running through the crowd. He goes to chokeslam him through the desk, but the Gravedigger comes out and makes the stop without being overly physical. It's very much puts his hands on him and says, "Whoa, stop it." The former tag champions stare each other down as the Dominator tries to get through to Gravedigger, who gives him just a very vacant look. Like, the Gravedigger is a changed man recently. It gets a 47. It's increased our popularity in one region, which is good. That hopefully means the popularity, if this last show can be decent, which I don't think it's going to be from memory, we'll hopefully gain a couple of popularity points for January, but we'll see. So we're in front of 270 people for this block of TV, which is okay. I reckon we're going to lose about 9,500 again though, which is less than okay. But the Dojo, sans Luke, open the show, and Steve Blackman says he isn't surprised that Doug feels threatened by him. He's an extremely talented wrestler, but there's no doubt. But as a man, he has no honour, and at Chaos in the Close he's going to be a broken man when he takes that national title from him. He then says that his boys came up short in the tag title match a couple of weeks ago, and that's okay. We all saw what happened, but we have good news. We learn at the dojo. And they're going to face Kel Kennedy and Chris Charisma tonight, and if they win, they'll be getting a rematch at Chaos in the Close. And as for Luke, he's doing okay, and he'll be fine after the attack. It gets a 34. It's not the best opening to the show. It's probably not a great harbinger for what's about to come as well, because this is a very tag-heavy show, shall we say. But we open up with a singles match, as this is not good. Juventud Guerrera beats Gary Steele with the 450, he drops to 49, and yeah, that's less than good that he has a torn rotator cuff. I also just realised, have I booked this match too short? I've completely forgot what I've booked. Hang on, give me 2 seconds. For some reason, I thought I booked that match on the last show, even though I recorded it about 4 minutes ago. Anyway, there was no note about a botch or anything, at least, which is good. We then have the next match, which is the Firm of Nigel and Rampage defeating Dean Allmark and Tex Benedict with the Brainbuster Suplex. It's a match to get more reps in for everybody, keep these guys with some momentum, get these guys on the show and some experience, and Nigel McGuinness is just struggling big time right now. And then it's time for our main event, which gets a 39. This is not going to be a good show, as the dojo of LT Summers and Duncan Disorderly defeat Chris Charisma and Kelt Kennedy when LT Summers pins Kelt Kennedy. It's an average match from a lot of guys who are just trying to get more ring time. And yeah, the main event angle is even disappointing, as this isn't going to be a good show. As Rigor Mortis and the Gravedigger come down to the ring, and Mortis says what happened last week was a travesty. The Dominator is so upset that the Gravedigger chose family, he's resorted to violence and cheap shots. However, it seems he still doesn't have a partner for Chaos in the Close, so it will be a 2-on-1 handicap match. Gravedigger then interjects and says, well, maybe it should just be a 1-on-1 between you two, because the Dominator and the Gravedigger, there's still something there. Something. But Mortis shoots that down and says, look, this is what we've been working towards, so you need to, get a grip of yourself. The Dominator does appear on the top of the ramp, though, and says, oh, whoa, hold on. He never confirmed he didn't have a partner. He didn't a few weeks ago, but that was then. Now, he has one, and he'll be here at Chaos in the Close to help kick your ass. And he gets a 44. Yeah, the show's terrible. Let's just move on. Gary Steele out for a year with a torn rotator cuff. I think this is the same injury Daniels has. We can perform surgery. We'll look at that once we get out of this post-show. Another $9,000 lost. Oof, which I think takes our total loss for the month to 6,000, I think. And our popularity, we've not even gone up in popularity. I think that last show was so bad, we had... what a mess. What a mess. What a mess. I'm struggling with some of this stuff here. With the TV is a problem. When I'm recording this, none of the episodes that have been on TV have come out yet. This is the 23rd of September, just for reference, and the first episode of Live Edinburgh on STV comes out on the Thursday of this week that I'm recording. So I've not had feedback from you guys about what we should do, what we should, have we made I think we've made a massive mistake going on TV, to be honest. I'm just not seeing the benefits from it. We are struggling financially because of the production that STV wants. We need to book the shows in a block of 4 because that's the only way we can save money. But the 4th show is just a prop. I know I could book Doug in more matches and that would be a bit of a no-brainer. But yeah, it's just... I don't know. Because if we look, we're down 9,000. I thought it was down 6,000, but we are to get another 1,000 or so in sponsorships. It's going to be 7,500, 8,000 probably loss, which is better. I mean, it's going down, but I'm struggling with the TV. Now, I've looked at this before. I think the TV for events is fine, largely. It's the TV. The problem with the TV we've got, so we've got TV for another 5 months, is the attendance is the issue. Because if we look at our show history, so this was a block A4 that got 270. This was 251, so it's gone up 19. This was 259. This was 185. This was 217. And this was 197. This was 534. 441. You know, we've lost half of our attendance every month. And if you look at the ticket sales, other than last month where we had 9,000 because we ran the double show, we used to make more money a month on ticket sales than we do now. But if we increase the ticket sale price, one, you struggle to go up in size. Not that that mattered anyway, because we didn't even bloody go up a size on this taping. But also the attendance is lower, so it's like we could go to cheap. What? We're 39, so a TV ticket would be 9. Currently it's 7. So it's like it's not really worth the difference. We could go to normal and it would be 11, so it'd be $4 per person more, but we're probably going to lose 50 people. So it's like, are we actually making any money? Probably not. The production cost is a killer. Whereas I think if we ran one show a month, even on TV, we would get more money. I don't know if we would make money, but I think we'd get close. Because if you look at sort of here, 3,640, so double the ticket sales, essentially. So that would be another 1,800 off. Plus the sponsorship, plus the merch. Don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I also don't want to open these notifications because it might spoil something. So I'm not going to do that on this part of the episode. I am going to wrap up this section of the episode here. And I'll see you guys in just a couple seconds for Chaos in the Close. We've got 3 matches booked so far. I'm aware, by the way, that I have a television title that just doesn't get defended on TV very often, but I'm going to change that for the next block of tapings, hopefully. But I'm going to go skip ahead to Chaos in the Close, and we're going to have a big hard think about what we need to do going forward. Now you might be thinking, oh yeah, we've come back to actually do the show. I need to just quickly talk about this match and then come back to you again. Because I'm an idiot and I accidentally clicked the wrong button while I was trying to change some things around. So, if we have a pre-show match, is Kelp Kennedy and Chris Charisma defeat the Scottish Highlanders when Chris Charisma submits Robbie Graham. We're in front of 698 people in the Liquid Rooms in Edinburgh for Chaos in the Close. And I'm going to pause this recording now to go finish what I was actually doing. I promise I can actually play this game, you know. Okay, apologies, my voice sounds a bit off. I was in the middle of a coughing fit and it's all just gone wrong. We've got another pre-show match as Luke Phoenix defeated Johnny Storm by pinfall. This is basically because I needed to change some things with referees and road agents a little bit for this show. I really need to start thinking about signing a second referee potentially for these big shows because Martin was struggling. So, but luckily Dan Reed, the commentator, can do refereeing, so he has been the referee for the pre-show. And someone else has been the road agent for the pre-show. But yeah, Luke Phoenix gets a win. I was going to have this on the main show, but he gets a win on the pre-show. That's fine. Yeah, 698 people in the Liquid Rooms. Chaos in the Close. Chaos in the recording studio. Chaos in the house. It's all chaos everywhere. But we open the actual show on STV with a 48 rated tag team match as Juventud Guerrera and Jorge Castano defeat the Smashing Diamonds of Justin Starr and Roughneck in 12:29 when Jorge Castano pins with the bridging German suplex. It's a decent match overall. However, once again, we have to talk about Juventud Guerrera. Really off his game. Dropped a 42, which is the same as Castano. 3 less than Roughneck. And only 5 more than Justin Starr. Now, obviously, the Smashing Diamonds were in musical boot camp. We do have a little next part to that coming up. Now, as Chris Diamond comes to the ring and he's furious. He comes to the ring and he berates the Smashing Diamonds for losing yet again. They apologise profusely and say they're tired from the boot camp. They've been locked away in some mysterious cabin for like a month. So, of course they're tired. And Diamond says, well, in that case, you better have written the perfect song for him. But when they say they haven't, he's about to snap when PJ Black's music hits. PJ Black comes down and says, rather than belittling your stooges, how about you actually defend that STV title against him right now? And yes, we will go into PJ Black and Chris Diamond in just a moment, but yep, the Smashing Diamonds falling apart a little bit, it has to be said. Justin and Roughneck not getting the wins that you feel like they may need to get, and Chris Diamond's just losing it. It's a band in turmoil, it has to be said. We'll hopefully have something going for next TV tapings. I haven't written anything here solely because I'm going to put into my notes to remind me to do this, because I will not be recording this for about 2 weeks from now. So yeah, I don't want to put things into angles that I don't remember. So I'll put a wee note in to say what I want to do. But in the match, the STV title is on the line, and Chris Diamond defends the STV title by defeating PJ Black in 10-14 with the Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness to make defense number 4 of the STV title. And he gets a good little rating as well, has to be said. I mean, pretty solid from him. 43, PJ Black for 35. It's all good stuff. Up next, we have another angle. Okay, so here we go. Now, obviously, it spoils it because of who's listed here. But Rigor Mortis and the Gravedigger make their elaborate spooky entrance. Then the Dominator comes down, he comes to the ringside, and Rigor Mortis grabs the mic and says, I thought you had a partner. And the Dominator smiles and says, I do. Because the jungle beat starts, and oh my god, Kamala is here in Castle Pro Wrestling. Yes, I've brought in Kamala. I know, it's silly. But I was looking at people who I could bring in, and we were paying quite a lot of money for Kamala, both travel and the pay. But I thought, you know what, this is the kind of silly nonsense that makes just bizarre sense here. And obviously, you know, Kamala and the Undertaker had a history, so it only kind of Kamala and the Gravedigger. It's quite a fun little thing. He's only on a 1-show deal. He is literally here tonight, and he was also road agent in the opening matches. So, thank you, Kamala, for your service. It gets a 51, and the match itself gets a 49, which is fine, as Rigor Mortis and the Gravedigger defeat the Dominator and Kamala in 13:50 when the Gravedigger submitted Kamala. Kamala, absolute dog, you know what, in this match, 25. But the two main men carrying the match to something respectable. And yep, it's another win for Rigor Mortis and the Gravedigger over the Dominator, who is really starting to struggle to find his purpose now. And we will obviously go more into this on the TV, but I just thought this was a fun little throwaway sort of thing, and Kamala's quite fun, you know. We then move on to the next match, where a shocking upset occurs. The Dojo of LT Summers and Duncan Disorderly defeat the firm of Nigel McGuinness and Rampage Brown in 14:10 when LT Summers submits Nigel McGuinness. And the Dojo of LT Summers and Duncan Disorderly shock the world, or more likely, shock like 3,000 people in Scotland, and win the Castle Pro Wrestling Tag Team titles. Rampage was off his game and still by far and away the best guy in the match. And I'll be honest, I have partly made this decision because of the fact that Nigel McGuinness just isn't putting the performances in, to be honest. He dropped a 30 here. It's the same, and then those two guys haven't dropped amazing performances either, but I'm really concerned about Nigel. And moving on to that, I got a 42 by the way. Before the main event, an irate Doug Williams is interviewed before his match as the firm walk through the curtain. Defeated. He says that on Live in Edinburgh he'll be having words with them about this absolute disgrace before shouting that he's got a match to prepare for, and he's just is annoyed. He walks away. He's got a big match against Steve Blackman coming up next for the national title. He's obviously confused. He's all over the place. And in the main event, it gets a 59, but there's no such worries for Doug Williams. He, unlike his firm stablemates, does retain his title in an excellent match against Steve Blackman. 23 minutes it took though, with the Chaos Fury, and to make defence number 8 of the national title. Doug, I mean, he was twice as good nearly as Steve Blackman, so you know. Obviously we weren't putting the belt on Blackman just yet anyway. I have a long-term plan for the national title, so that's all sorted for me as far as I'm concerned. But it gets a 59, it's a really good main event. The show gets a 52, which is fine considering this is very much a lower stakes show, I would say. But we did have a big title change, as the Dojo did gain the tag titles off the firm, whose year-long reign comes to an end. We've increased their popularity by 1 region, which is fine, and we'll give some praise, and I feel like we need to give praise to the two main men, obviously. Give them a hug because they're amazing. Who else stood out? I mean, Roughneck. I think Roughneck put in one of the best performances of the night as well, so we're going to tell Roughneck that he's awesome. And everybody's happy. Financial report. Now, this makes things interesting, because despite the show costs and all the production and things like that, we've made 1,400 on this show, and we've gained a popularity point, and that's with, I believe, normal ticket prices. I think I need to double check that. I think that's normal ticket prices or cheap. It's one of the two. I will go and check in just a second once this game loads. But yeah, and it makes things interesting because we're going to have the TV coming up, and we're going to lose about 9 grand on the TV again. So I don't know if, do we just ride this through until June, let the Live in Edinburgh contract expire, keep the events on STV, and do a monthly show. Go back to the monthly show of Live in Edinburgh. We could do weekly Live in Edinburghs, and put them on television, but I think the costs of those would be too much, because obviously the purpose of doing four block tapings is you pay once for everything, whereas on 4 individual shows you're paying 4 times the price of everything. So it's definitely an interesting decision. I'm going to be sitting on the beach in Greece thinking about this, you know. Obviously, for you guys, it'll be after I come back. But I will have thought about it on the beaches in Greece. I'll be sitting there, you know, thinking, the weather's hopefully nice, and we have an issue with our television programme on my wrestling video game. But it's all fine. We'll see how it all goes. And we've got new tag champions. That's the important thing from this show. And I'm going to start, I think, with the February TV tapings. I'm going to start building the big picture for Lunatic Fringe. Obviously, that's in August. We've got Graps in the Grass Market in April, which is our next semi-big show. And we'll definitely plan some fun stuff for that one. But I do think Lunatic Fringe, I think there's one definitely obvious match that we should run. But after that, I don't know. We've got 2,500 viewers on the show. money wise, we're currently sitting at 613 profit. So if we ran one monthly show, we would make a few thousand in profit. But we're going to lose all of this thanks to the TV. We will get more merchandise sales and some more sponsorship and a bit more broadcast revenue, but it's, you know, we shall see on that one. Tickets, it is, yeah, normal. I've changed them to cheap for the TV taping. So we'll see what happens on the next episode, because that's going to wrap things up here. It's been a semi-successful start to the year 2001. Some pretty mediocre television, but a decent enough first edition of Chaos in the Close, with the title situation changing massively. But obviously, Doug Williams, the man, doesn't lose very often, and he's still our national champion. 8 successful defences so far in this reign for 297 days. The prestige is up to 40. Obviously, I did start at like 30, I think, so my apologies on that one. But Doug is doing bits bringing that up. Chris Diamond is still our STV champion, has been for 138 days. And we have had the title change for the tag belts, as the firm lose the tag titles after literally 1 year, 18th to the 18th. They lose the belts to LT Summers and Duncan Disorderly. Now, what has that done for those two? So 27 up from 25, so not much there. Duncan up to 27, up from 23. So we've done some good stuff there. Nigel has dropped to 14, and Rampage has dropped a couple to 39, but that's okay. Doug is up to 44. Steve Blackman, 26. He's gone up despite his loss. The Dominator is dropped, but fear not, we are bringing him back up ASAP. And the Gravedigger has gone up by 4 points this month. Wow. I wonder if that's because he beat Kamala. And Rigor Mortis, what's he doing? He's at 22. So he's gone up quite nicely since we brought him in as well. He's ticking along quite well. Chris Diamond is at 35. He's stayed the same. What about like 23, 20? He also will be using quite regularly. Jorge Castano is up to 26. He's gone up as well. Hoovy's at 38, so he's sort of hovering around as well. Also, before I end the episode, we've brought Loki in to see if we can get him to move over here. And we've also brought in Rockstar Spud, who for some reason, despite being English and brand new into the game, is based in the southeast of the USA, which is not correct. He's been with All Star Wrestling. He's pretty good here, but he's fantastic in the performance metrics. So we'll definitely have a plan for him should we get to use him. It's 2 days until live in Edinburgh, but for me that's going to be 2 weeks. And hopefully you've enjoyed this episode. What do you think about the title change? Too soon? Shocking? The right move? What's going to happen with the firm, especially with Nigel McGuinness? And yeah, let me know your thoughts. I'm still really enjoying this save, and hopefully you are too. So thanks so much for watching. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, all your usual fun stuff, and I will see you guys for the next episode of Local to Global in a few days' time. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.